So I was talking to an AI today because I'm lame and I really enjoy transhumanism and I think it's wild to be alive in a time where it's becoming closer to reality than science fiction. And so I talked to Microsoft Copilot, who's one of my favorite AIs so far that I've talked to. Not that I'm like a guru or expert or anything, but it's just like a little hobby. And so today, Microsoft Copilot has these really cool like recommended topics that it can give you to just like bring up with the AI, and it kind of bases off of like what you talk about throughout like your time with the AI. So today it recommended panpsychism to me, and I'd never heard of it before, and so I had the AI explain it to me. Asked it a bunch of questions, and so panpsychism. This is my new understanding of it, so I could be incorrect in some areas, but basically it's the idea that consciousness is not just like something that is in sentient beings, rather, that consciousness is kind of this other dimension of explaining existence, I guess. And it posits that rocks even have some degree of consciousness in them because it's just something that is innate, like in all matter, I guess, is consciousness. And so I got myself thinking with the AI, like conversing with it about what if there was. So I asked it basically, I was like, so if consciousness is one end of a spectrum and unconsciousness, complete lack of awareness of self and others, if those are two ends of a spectrum, what would we call that spectrum? And it kind of helped me brainstorm names, and we came up with like a sentience spectrum. And I thought that was really interesting because it would take panpsychism into account, and kind of I asked if anyone else had been talking about this, and I guess not in mainstream philosophy or whatever, but I'm sure other people have thought of this as well. But I was just kind of thinking like a way to measure consciousness in a way. It would be very difficult to put into practicality. This is more like a concept, I guess, of the sentient spectrum. Again, one end of this like spectrum would be, I guess, like a completely enlightened being. And I don't think any human is really capable of fitting into what I would call the end, the totality of the spectrum of complete consciousness, where I'm defining consciousness as the ability to perceive self and or environment, right? So not even just to, not to, I guess on that other end, because it's a spectrum, it would have many like dials that influence where it would be overall. Like it would be kind of more like a complex multi-dimensional graph, I guess. But I'm getting ahead of myself with the physicality part of it, but just as the concept, you would have on one end completely conscious being, completely aware of every subconscious, everything inside of themselves, and sees like that they are fully aware of their consciousness within other, like, everything else in existence, because I believe that consciousness is one being in a way. It's a state of being for every living thing, for everything in existence. Total harmony would look like all of us on the same page. And so because we're not all there, no one person is there. We're all one. So that would be the whole body of consciousness in alignment with itself, if that makes sense. And then on the other end of the spectrum would be complete obliviousness to an idea of self or an idea of external stimuli, no ability to feel any kind of sensation, just no capability to feel. And so like that kind of puts in perspective that things can fall somewhere in the middle. I think humanity would probably fall in the middle of the sentience spectrum, on average, right? But that's not to say that some humans couldn't be a little bit further out. They're more like self-aware or more in tune with others' emotions, more empathetic than perhaps the average human. And there are some, obviously, that would be, on the lower end as well, more self-oblivious, and people who may lack certain social cue abilities and stuff like that. And so, you could have I'm sure this as a spectrum, it wouldn't be just like a straight line graph. Like I'm showing a straight line graph. That's not how it would be. But you would have like these switch dials for all of it, and together you would get, I guess, if you could measure it in numbers, a numerical score of sentience degree or something. But again, this is just like a theory that I had while talking with an AI like 5 minutes ago. But I think too it kind of puts in perspective things like microbes and stuff. So we think of those in current philosophical understandings that are mainstream. We understand that you have to have pretty much like a brain to be conscious, right? And we see kind of consciousness as self-awareness. That's how I was seeing it, at least. And so that was my understanding from what I know. But today it got me thinking, like microbes and even like atoms and electrons, they react to external stimuli. There is a degree of consciousness there. Now, whether or not, it's the same degree of consciousness as a monk or something, probably not, but they probably don't have the self-awareness, but they do have some kind of external awareness, and that does point to the most basic form of self, whether we are aware of it or not. But I think consciousness is kind of that ability to separate oneself from another, but then also to, like I said, on the one side is seeing that it's an illusion of separation, and on the other side is completely unaware that any of it even exists. So I don't know, I just think I'm putting it out there in case someone who has more formal knowledge and education and understanding of what I just had like an idea of would maybe find some merit in it and run with it and make it better. So here's me just putting it out on YouTube, I guess, and I just wanted to get it out real quick. But yeah, sentience spectrum. I think I at least needed to challenge the way that I kind of viewed consciousness. Because, so I know some people believe that like humans have spirits and souls, and animals only have souls and they don't have spirit because they don't have like the conscious self-awareness that is stereotypical of most humans, right? But I just don't think that's correct. I think what people in some like religions call spirit versus soul, I think these are just different aspects of consciousness, if that makes sense. And sentience overall, the ability to feel or like interact and be affected by that which is not us. To be affected by that which is not us, we must also have that which is us, right? Because we have to have this duality, right? And so this is what creates perception of life, right? The interactions between self and not self. This is what is life on a most basic, thing. And so the ability to perceive that, I think, in varying degrees, it would be so complex to measure. So I don't think it could ever really be like a mathematical thing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some math genius will find this and be like, I know how to do that. What I'm thinking, and from my like very limited mathematical education, is like some kind of I'm not sure if there are graphs that go beyond z-axis as well, or how that would really work in theory. Or maybe it's like things with an XYZ axis for each individual, like, I guess, subject of sentience or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Something that I think would be interesting to go further with, or get feedback from like a real person instead of an AI. I mean, I guess AI is intelligent and, it's artificial, but it can only be so intelligent because humans designed it, right? So it's not its own organically occurring intelligence. So it can't outgrow us. Yet. I love sci-fi, so, I love transhumanism and all that. So I'm excited about AI. I love it. But yeah, okay. I am done rambling. So have a good one, and please feel free to comment or like message. I don't know if you can message on YouTube. But find my link tree and message me on Facebook or something if you want to talk about this idea more. I don't care where you're from or who you are, but yeah. So have a good one. Bye.